All right, we are recording again. My name's Luke Angstadt. This is my podcast, Knowledge Wars. I'm the author of the book, The Musings of De La Pew. It's a 20-year investigation into the nature of reality, the nature of existence, God, human beings, the relationship between all of them. It's available on Amazon, and you can see details that will lead you to the link on Amazon in the description page for this video on Rumble and YouTube. Today I have Albert and Bob as my guests, and Danielle should be joining me shortly. And over the past couple of episodes, Bob and Danielle and even Albert joined us too on one. I remember we were discussing the Bible and how certain crucial words have been changed, especially in the book of Genesis, with a reference to the Elohim and the Nephilim, and God's plural, God's singular. Are we dealing with ancient astronauts? Lower God. The lower G God. And we're discussing certain words that have been changed, and we kind of got off that topic because we kind of wrapped up that topic because Danielle had a lot of notes that we wanted to go over, and I think in the third episode we pretty much covered that in that series. But now we were going to get back into discussing politics, and I've been kind of jonesing to discuss politics with Bob, and I'm sure he has because it's been a couple of weeks, and we've been exchanging. We exchanged texts, but. Where was this leading? Oh no, it's been a while since we discussed it, and so much has happened. In particular, obviously the raid on Trump's house, the IRS increasing its budget from 15 million to 85 million, doubling its employee count. Obviously, the Alex Jones trial, and you really just can't keep up with it. I mean, the CDC dropped all its recommendations for the woohoo, and then the woohoo virus, because I shudder to call it what they like to call it. But anyway, and on top of that, and this is something that I shared with Bob yesterday. I mean, the Philadelphia School District has announced that 3 to 5-year-olds, its preschoolers, will be required to wear the face muzzle for the entire upcoming school year. So much has been going on, and it looks like Danielle is coming in here. So I'm going to bring Danielle in here, but we've made the introductions, and I guess we'll give Danielle a moment here to connect. And hi, Danielle. Oh, her audio is on its way. But Bob, I guess so while she's going on, Bob, I mean, I know it sounds like you right before we hit the record button, you were ready to get into it. So please have
yeah, just briefly, like, talking about the Trump raid and how false flag or whatever it could be, but what the objective would be is to rile the people up, right? I just think at this point, the moment, and whatever we think about Trump, right? That's a whole nother rabbit hole discussion to go down and whatever. But so forget about that. But on the surface, if you want to play into the way the world sees it, the way most Americans see it, it's the Republican and Democrat, right? The Democrat, and I'm not saying I agree with that because I don't, okay? But the fact is that's the way people still see it, most of them. And so they see that they're losing, the Democrats, they're losing momentum, and it's a no-brainer, right? They're trashing this country. And Trump's doing his rallies, and he just spoke at CPAC and all that stuff. And there is so much. I believe Trump is more popular now than he's ever been, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree, Bob. Great person.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Democrats. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
It says, Danielle, you're muted, it says.
Yeah, I sent Danielle a message letting her know that she was muted. But yeah, you're right, Bob. Yeah, he's more popular now than he's ever been. Yeah.
And it almost seems like it's a trap in a sense. So if they can, and so I do believe they've been trying to invoke violence since this whole thing started.
Oh,
January 6th, that was peaceful, but they tried to but nothing happened, and on, nothing has happened. And I would have said a year ago, let's bring it, get it going. But now I realize that is not the answer, because if we give in to violence at this point, it's game over, because it's a trap. But the scary part is, I know this local diner that I go to, there's a few guys in there that are Proud Boys, right? Whatever we want to think about the Proud Boys too. Literally, they're just, patriots who are, kind of like a malicious.
Bob, can I ask you something? I just want to, Proud Boys started as a practical joke. There was a Canadian comedian, his name's like Gavin McGinnis or something like that, but he started it. It was like a satirical group, and then it just turned into what it is today. And
Yeah.
also to your point about inciting violence, I mean, you know that. So I mean, that's where this is going. And you see, I saw a headline yesterday. I don't know if it was on Fox News or CNN, where it said, something with regards to stoking the fires for civil war, and that's what they want. But even if like all they have to do is all it requires is another false flag operation to incite a civil war. I mean, that's what these people do. That's what they do, right? I mean, 9/11. I mean, that's what they do. Sandy Hook. I mean, Waco, Texas. I mean, Oklahoma City. You name it. I mean, March of 2020. That's what these people do. So it's almost, Bob, I almost feel like if that's what they want, that's what's going to happen, because they're going to have some Joros funded asshole putting piles of bricks on street corners to start this war. I mean, for people that don't have the guns and the bullets, that's what they're going to do, because that's what
Well, I mean,
because that is
yeah,
what they do.
but they did that 2 years ago, and all that happened was they looked like a bunch of idiots,
Yeah.
and nobody really reacted. We just sat back and watched it and thought we should have done something. So it's like, but now the whole mindset, I believe, is okay. You want to tear up your city? Go ahead, tear it
Bob,
up.
I think if that's what they want, they're not going to pull out any stops to have as many false flags as it takes to incite this. And I'm
Oh,
not saying
no,
they're going to. I'm
I
not going to say
agree.
they're
I
going to
agree.
succeed, but
But
there's
they
nothing
don't.
that's going to
But
stop them from. Yeah.
but the American patriot doesn't have to give into that. You can
No, I
still
agree.
protect
I completely
yourself and
agree.
your family and your property, but don't give in, because it'll happen in the cities. It's not going to happen in our neighborhoods. And
Mhm.
so you don't have to give in. But part of the problem is not everybody thinks like we do, right? Like they're not thinking clearly without the emotion. They're getting
Mhm.
fired up. And so back to the Proud Boy thing, these guys are pissed off and they're everywhere and they're having meetings and they act like they're ready to do whatever it takes. And so
Mhm.
I don't know. And I would also say that those groups are infiltrated by the FBI and CIA to stoke the fire.
100%.
So you get somebody in there that's saying, "Hey, here's what we're going to do," and next thing you know, da da da. Before you know, it's traveling around the whole freaking country to all the chapters of the Proud Boys or other groups, and
Mhm.
everybody's fueled up. And then you see the news, and the news is just like setting the stage. Oh, they're waiting for a signal from Trump. Are you kidding me? Like, whatever
Mhm.
you think about Trump, he is not signaling the Proud Boys or any other group to
No.
take action because
No.
he would know that is not going to work. The guy's not an idiot.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I think there's a lot of idiots out there. That's all. I
Mhm.
don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Danielle, how's your audio? Is it
Can
up?
you can you hear me now?
We can, yeah.
I had to go into my settings. I'm using my phone because my computer froze up. My Wi-Fi is all crazy. I had to go downstairs. I was upstairs. Anyway,
Well, at least you're here. Good to see you.
good to see you.
Good morning.
Yeah, so just to add my 2 cents in there. I mean, you saw the video I sent you guys, right? So, um, you know, selected, not elected. That's it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's factions of mafias. That's what it is. Factions of mafias. And after watching that video yesterday, there's a connection to the Gambino family with Trump. So, you
Mhm.
know, that's funny because I actually have a friend named Vito. I won't give his last name, but his family's connected with the Gambinos, and they actually got out. They came so many times to try to kill his dad, but his dad was an enforcer, so he wasn't easy.
Mhm. Well, what do you all think about like the triple punch with obviously they come with the Alex Jones? I mean, trying to set a precedent and an example with him with having a $45 million lawsuit against his free speech. Then they kind of sneak in the IRS being having increased budget from 15 million to what is it, 85 million, with more than double the number of employees. And then Bob, you sent me that whole roster list of these new IRS agents, how they're going to be trained and being trained to use deadly force should the occasion arise. And then a few moments later or a few days later, we have the raid on Trump's house. So I mean, it's just a triple whammy there, just overwhelming people. And it kind of reminds me of when Roe v. Wade was overturned at the same time. That was right, I think, when monkeypox was being introduced into the public consciousness. In addition to the new gun legislation too. So I mean, they hit people all at once with this, right? I mean, they're doing everything they can to stoke the flames of civil unrest and trying to
But unfortunately,
Civil War.
I got to say that still, most people are not paying attention.
Mhm.
They're not paying attention.
Mhm.
I see it every day. I still argue with my wife a little bit. Like, they're just like, let it alone. You've been
Mhm.
saying this stuff for 2 years. Just be quiet. Nobody wants
But
to
Bob, you
hear
know
it.
what? Their subconscious is being affected by this, especially when there's like a triple whammy like this. Because I go back to the Roe v. Wade. When Roe v. Wade, when they overturned Roe v. Wade, I remember there were some gun laws passed at the time. In addition to the monkeypox was the scariest thing hiding under everyone's bed, times a million. And then again, I see correlations with the Alex Jones, the IRS being increased, and then the Trump rate. I mean, they hit people with the triple whammy. So whether or not they're really paying attention and they're conscious to it, I mean, their subconscious is being affected by this. I mean, there's definitely a subconscious effect here that kind of that eventually ripples down into the conscious mind. Yeah,
I think there's just some people that aren't going to wake up.
I agree. Yeah,
It's apathy. It's not that it's just apathy. They don't care because they don't like probably one of our first conversations, Luke, you said, what is it going to take? And I said, it has to become real and personal to somebody's house. It's like my brother, right? I don't know if I probably shared the text with all you guys, I think, but my brother, not that he's for the vax, he's just whatever. He's just being tossed by the freaking wind, And so his wife took it, his kids took it. He was just at the beginning and he got bamboozled, right? Like he wasn't paying attention. So it seemed like, okay, and I give him grace on that. I'm not going to judge him for that. And he did not, and his daughter did not. But the whole time, now I get it. He let his wife and daughter and his sons do it. So there's something internally, I would have to imagine, a major struggle going on. So he would not want to hear it. It's conspiracy. These people dying. Not everybody dies from the vax. I don't want to hear about it. He sent me something last week that his person who cuts his hair for, I guess, years, they were going to go on a cruise, had to get a vax. They decided to do it. They got their booster on a Monday. Tuesday morning, the husband was dead. Yeah. So he sent me that. And he said, but I don't want to talk about it, but this is true. So of course I didn't hammer him. I said, okay, no surprise, and let it go. And so that hits home for him. So now I think that's all it took. He knows this is bad shit. Whatever he's hearing, whatever he's done, he knows that and maybe this will happen with everything else. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, what will it take, even though you're saying it's affecting people's subconsciousness? I mean, I don't know. But then again, you say, what will it take? But then what am I expecting? Okay, so this is just personal. What am I expecting my wife to do if she realizes, oh yeah, you're right 100%? What do I think she's going to do? Nothing. What am I doing? We're just talking, right? But so I don't even know. Like we're all in this thing together and we're getting bombarded. But so what do we really do? Like what is our solution?
What I see us doing is we are speaking to the hive mind. We are speaking to, what Carl Jung referred to as that great collective consciousness. And for lack of a word, some people call it God. I call it the universe, infinite, eternal consciousness. I realize it as a personality, but I'm speaking to it. I'm not necessarily speaking to people in general. I mean, yes, I want people to hear it. And if whether it's friends and family and they tell someone and that they know and they happen to watch it and they something clicks and they watch more, or it takes them somewhere else to learn more, so be it. But I am speaking to the hive mind right now. I am actually, for another word, I am speaking to God right now. It's like I'm sick and fucking goddamn tired of this shit. That's really who I'm talking to.
Don't speak to God like that, though.
Bob, that's who I'm talking to. Well, he should have some thick fucking skin by now because it gets ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous, and that's where I'm at, and I have no fear. But I mean, I'm speaking to God. I'm speaking to the universe, and I'm just saying, what will it take? Yeah. Right? What will it take?
Yeah.
You gotta remember where his mindset is as far as the universe is completely different from a religion point of view. So, God,
the father figure sitting in the clouds who's gonna take care of us if I brush my teeth and eat my vegetables and go to bed at an appropriate time. No, forget that. I mean, forget that. I mean, that's
I agree with that. I just I don't know. I guess we're just a little different like that. With our conversations. It's just like I have.
But Bob, it's to your point. I mean, I love your perceptions, but I mean, yeah, but when you ask, like, who are we talking to? Because we're just talking. That really is what I see us doing. Is I mean, what it's a frequency, it's a wave. Everything is on a frequency and a wavelength, and we are putting it out there, hoping to connect. That's how I see it.
And it's a duality. So we have to
Yeah.
remember that the universe or God or whatever way you want to look at it, it's both black, white, good, bad. It's everything.
Mhm.
So, and I think people focus so much on the good, but forget that it's a balance. And if we don't have the balance, then
Mhm.
we don't have the universe.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying the people would say the attitude, like, just don't worry about it, it's all going to be fine. They don't have a balance because they're basically just focusing on like the positive, but there's a lot of negative going on right now too. That not that we should focus on it, but we need to be aware of it. I guess that is my frustration. And even, like this, I agree with you, Luke. This is a conversation, and my wife would say, boy, you can't get up early to do whatever, take the dogs out, but you get up early to go do your podcast. I'm like, hell yeah. I said, because this is important. And she's
Mhm.
like, to who? I said, to me, to
Mhm.
me. I said, and the people that I'm talking to, I said, we're feeding off each other in this environment that it's needed. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to come over here, but not to take the dogs out. But I mean, but for my wife, that's like, oh, that's more important than this, but it's not, but
Mhm.
this is important. And if we don't connect like this, and I guess that's to your point, Luke, like, what are we doing? Maybe we're just feeding our own selves with positive things. I don't know, but there's something about conversations with other people about what's going on for real that is powerful. I don't know.
I mean, it rejuvenates your batteries in the morning. It does. Yeah. For me, it does. Yeah.
It gets stuff off your chest too. I mean, it's being in the truther community like this, and being awake is a lonely place to be. And
Mhm.
when you have like-minded people to be able to get those frustrations out, it sucks. I'm
Mhm.
glad to have you guys.
Albert, we lost you for a second. What are your thoughts on
Yeah,
this?
I'm not sure what happened. It cut out, and then apparently the video wasn't on. I got back on, but the video was off, so I got it back up and running.
Mhm.
But that's the community aspect of, sometimes you can sit and think that you're either losing it or going too far down the rabbit hole. But it's good to
Lord,
have other people in the area that see things similar
Mhm.
to you,
Mhm.
or at least even if they don't see things similar to you, at least they have eyes to see. That's the important thing.
Mhm.
So many people out there just blind. I
And
mean,
Bob, a lot of
understandable.
my frustration comes, it's just a lifetime of frustration. I mean, it's like, how many decades can you come at people with all the honesty, authenticity, sincerity, and genuineness and goodness in your heart, and trying to have an honest conversation with people, and, have to get spit and pissed on in your face? I mean, it's like, how long? I
Yeah.
mean, you talk about the patience of Job. I mean, it's like, please, how long? You know, it's just, it comes to a point where you feel like you're just put on this planet to put up with shit. It really is. And I was talking with Danielle on our podcast. That you feel like you're in a Kafka novel. I mean, Franz Kafka was I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he wrote a lot of popular novels in the late 19th century, early 20th about just one was called The Castle. I mean, The Metamorphosis. One was called America. I mean, but he wrote these stories about a protagonist who's just stuck in an insane, absurd world, just trying to overcome this government bureaucracy everywhere, and it was just insane, pointless, meaningless, and it's just putting up with shit for the sake of putting up with shit. I mean, it almost feels like that's what life is. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is here with this world. It's
that's
just
exactly how it feels.
what's that?
I said that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah,
Day in and day out. I'm like,
day in, day out,
belong
decade in,
here.
decade out, lifetime in, lifetime out, just putting up with
Yeah,
shit.
but yet if you don't, here's the little whatever, the struggle, I guess. But like, so it's, if we're not at the end game, but I think we are. It's like, so I feel sorry for you, and not, don't take this the wrong way, but like, you've been doing this for 20 years and we're still not there. It's like, damn, live a life, right? And so like, when I block it all out and I pretend the world is good and I focus on my business, my family, my life, nothing is really affecting me. I
Oh,
have
Bob,
a
I do it
very
in my free
good and
time, though. No, I
positive
mean,
life.
I'll joke, but I mean, I do find humor. I mean, I don't. It's not a 24/7 job trying to reach
Right,
people.
right, right. But my
But I
point
hear
is,
you.
like, I just
Yeah.
like when you say it's just a life of putting up with, like, I don't know. Like I've only seen the struggle because I think we're here, right? Like all these things that have been happening, they really don't affect anybody unless we allow them to, right? But now they really do affect us because when they lock down your business or they're trying to force you to get a vaccine or something else, or the tax man's coming after you and finding out that you did some write-offs over the past 10 years that you shouldn't have done. They all add up to interest and blah, blah, blah. And now you owe 100 grand and you can't pay it. So you got to go to fucking jail. That does affect us, right?
You're right. I mean, before March of 2020, it wasn't really, even with like all the new rules and regulations with the Patriot Act. I mean, it still was. I mean, it was more of an inconvenience at that point, right? It wasn't a full on invasion and violation, or just an offense on your physical person. And I mean, it was. I mean, there was still a very large buffer zone with regards to the government prying into your everyday life. I mean, but I mean, it was a hell of a lot. I mean, it gave the government, just innumerable expanding their powers with the Patriot. But Bob, to your point, Bob, it didn't inconvenience us in our daily lives to the point where we're like, wait a second, what the hell's going on here, right? I mean, it wasn't really until the lockdown of March 2020 where we really felt it. Albert, it looks like you wanted to chime in here a minute.
No, I was just agreeing. Agreeing.
Sure. But what do you think, Bob? I mean, really, it really was. It's only been since like March of 2020 where we really,
right, and then
where it was up in our noses, right? It was
now that stuff is gone, and there's no more lockdowns. People are like, whatever. So and this is just personal, like with between me and my wife, it'd be like, okay, like I told you there would be no more. I said more lockdowns are coming, but now it seems like they're not. So that was like, okay, well, you've been focused on that for the past 2 years. It never happened. So now you're going to say the IRS is coming to get us. You know what I mean? It's like you start to, like Albert would say, you start to almost think like, and then if Trump comes back, which I believe he will, we're going to be like, oh shit. And be like, what do you mean, oh shit? Like, this is supposed to be good. No, it's not good. So you do feel like you're like kind of very, like Danielle said, very alone, but yet what's right and what's really happening, but yet to the average person, you look like you're just looking for the next bad thing to happen, and almost like you want it to happen to be like, see, I told you so. And that's not the case at all. But sometimes that's how we're perceived, I think.
That's because we're in a CIA operation. Psychological.
That's crazy talk, Daniel. Why would you say that?
Let Danielle finish. I think she was going to.
Yeah. Well, what it is that they're actors. Trump, all those guys, they're actors. This is just a big giant stage. And what it is it's being done, and people like what I believe Alex Jones, Joe Rogan and stuff like that are being used to give us little bits of stuff that's truth, but it's twisted in lies. So they'll use people on YouTube. We have to be so careful. They look like an average Joe on YouTube, but they could very well be a CIA operative that is giving you bogus information that you think, oh my gosh, this is truth. And for example, we're going to have more lockdowns. Well, there were a lot of people saying that, you know what I mean? But, that could have been an operation done by the CIA. I'm not saying it was, but they do this stuff. Psychological warfare. It's designed to make those of us who really are seeking for the truth and trying to expose it like crazy people. Exactly what it's designed to do. And it's to credit us so that way, oh look, it didn't happen. And then that puts people back into their happy cognitive dissonance, and then they could tune out all the little things that are little flags that would normally wake people like us up. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and these new world globalists they are flexible with their tactics, right? I mean, it really comes down to they have a game plan, but they have different options with it. It's just, you have to know their end game. I mean, their end game is total global control to make this one big prison working funny farm, and they're more than 95% of the way there, but that's what they want. They want complete control and domination of this planet. And so if they have to use Trump, if they have to throw him under the bus, or if Trump needs to get elected in 2024 again, they're going to do it. If that further advances their agenda for total global control, they're going to do it.
And he was a He was a great operation.
Yeah. Trump
Because
said we're going
he,
to mobilize the military to get the needle in everyone's arm in the United
well,
States. In October
what
of 2020, he said that 6 or 7 times in the first 45 minutes of the first presidential debate that he stood by the lockdown, that the lockdown was a great idea. You know, that he's Donald fucking Trump. I'm beating my chest. It was a tough decision, but we had to lock down the world and put tens of millions of small and medium-sized businesses out of business. You know, fuck him. You know, but people don't listen. I'm getting a little angry here. I'm sorry. Maybe I woke up on the
No,
right side of the
that's
bed.
okay.
But that's what he
that's
does.
true.
Have you heard of
Fucking
the
disgusting.
Bolsheviks? Have you
Go
heard
ahead,
of the
Danielle.
Have you heard of the Bolsheviks?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
do you know the operation that they did there, where they pulled out all these patriots? They were thinking it was similar to the whole movement of Q. All
Hmm.
these patriots following this thing.
When was this? Because I don't know about this. When was this?
This led to the Russian Revolution,
It was a long
like
time
over
ago.
100 years ago. Bolsheviks were late or early 20th century, Bob. When they
Okay.
this is
Okay.
what led to the Russian Revolution.
Okay, so go ahead. So go ahead.
Yeah, so basically it was very similar to the whole Q movement. So you had all these people and it was like a underground thing where, yeah, we're going to, we're going to get our country back and blah blah blah. And what it was an operation to know exactly who was against them. So what
Hmm.
do you think this Q movement could be?
Hmm.
Exactly that. And
Hmm.
that was in the back of my head the whole time. And I even downloaded the app because I was so on the fence for the longest time going, something's not right. And then the other part, oh no, maybe he really is somebody that's trying to help. Until finally I started to follow the money, like I told you, with Israel Gate and all that other stuff. So but yeah, I mean, Q could very well be a CIA operation to know exactly who the patriots are, who their enemies are, and they can go directly after those people if they need to. We're gonna go and put them in camps or
Yep.
whatever it is that they got planned, you know.
Hmm.
I've known for a long time if they start rounding people up, I'm on that list.
I know I'm on it. I have a YouTube
You
channel.
can't hide from it. You can't hide from it.
No.
I mean, things like you would have to keep your mouth shut, not say anything to anybody.
Hmm.
Other than that, I mean, yeah, we're all on the list for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can't let that stop you either, though.
No,
You know what I
No.
mean?
you can't.
No.
Our home is not here. That's what I keep telling myself. This is not our home, and this body is temporary. And I just, whatever happens, happens. I can't live life in fear, and that just falls into their hands anyway. Because if you live life in fear, all it does is put stress on you, lowers your immune system. It's a frequency they love because they live on a different frequency than we do,
Hmm.
and that's some esoteric talk. But anyway, and I'm not going to feed the beast. I'm not. They're parasites, and I'm not going to feed them.
Hmm.
And I'd like to be on the right side of history on this one.
Yes,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. Maybe this time we can be the writers of history.
Exactly. Well, we got God on our side, so that matters.
True
Of
that.
course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Good.
just don't know what it's going to take because I mean, there needs to be a global awakening, and that only requires a significant minority of the population. But I mean, to reach that critical mass number, this is also esoteric, Danielle. But I mean, it's just a certain. It could be 5%, it could be 10%. Who knows what the number is? But and maybe those numbers are inappropriate and not accurate either. But it just requires a significant minority of people to wake up to what's going on, and that will affect the perception transformation
You think that
instantaneously.
percentage is that low? You think?
I really do, Bob. I mean, you take a room that is pitch black and you light a candle or you flip a light on in the corner, it lights the entire room, and it's only a very if you get down to like the square footage of that large room, how much of that room needs to contain the light? I mean, it's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. I think the same principle applies here. I mean, I think it really does take just a small significant percentage of people to just put that awakening in motion, and that would happen instantaneously.
I
Yeah.
agree. And I honestly think that, I mean, if the winning sign's going to be us, I honestly don't think that they're going to fully win. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
either, and that's a biblical
Mhm.
perspective too. And
Yeah.
I mean, for all
Yeah.
my my foul language from frustration and anger earlier. I mean, I do believe that the Bible is the final authority, and the Book of Revelation says that after the devil is set loose for a season, that's after the devil has his season. I mean, then that's when the new earth and the new heaven, and the singularity of light. We will leave this world of duality, and there will be a singularity of light, and that singularity of light will be God. And we will, reside in paradise forever. Whenever that's going to happen, I don't know, but I mean, I think it's going to. I know it's going to happen, but and it just ties it back to obviously the book of Genesis. I mean, we started from a singularity of darkness and the formless void, and from there, we had the heavens and the earth and the sea and the light and the dark, and the day and the evening were created, and the man and woman. I mean, it's just describing one duality after another in the book of Genesis, and that second to last, or what in chapter 20 is describing another singularity being born. So we are going to get through it. It's just a matter of how much misery, how high does the misery index have to reach before this transformation takes effect?
And the fact is, it could last the rest of our lives, right? I mean,
It could, Bob. Thanks for being optimistic. Thanks for being.
Try not to think that
Oh, that's
way,
good.
but
Well, let's
yeah.
hope not, but it could, yeah.
I mean, we're just so used to like, oh, and it's just the way we've been, groomed or conditioned, but the fact is, most of the world has been struggling. We're Americans, man, and we've had a blessed life. Majority of the world's population has been struggling since their very existence. Since the moment most children are born in the world, it's not easy for them. Population wise speaking, I'm not saying countries, but the amounts of people that have been struggling with even just the basic necessities of life globally is huge. But yet we're upset because, I don't know, like freaking eggs are costing $1 more or some crap like that. You know what I mean?
And Bob, it's easy for us here to lose track that this isn't just in the I mean, what's happening, right? This takeover isn't just the United States. I mean, United States might be the biggest domino that they need to fall, but
Yeah.
This attack is on the entire human race. I mean, the entire
Absolutely.
world is feeling this. The entire world is feeling inflation. We just don't hear it. I don't know about China. I mean, I don't know what's going on in China or Russia really, but I mean, most of the world is feeling it. How can they not?
And people are literally going to be starving to death around the world.
Yeah,
So,
and
Yeah, in the not too distant future.
yes.
Yeah.
and you can't go off grid. You truly can't go off grid because there's control everywhere. Because you got to pay taxes for the land that you buy, and that's if you can even find land anymore to buy. That's true grid. So it's control everywhere.
Yeah. But we're in it to
I
win
don't know,
it.
what are some of your thoughts? You look like you have a very pensive look, Albert. What are your thoughts on some of this?
I don't know what to think sometimes. I don't know. Just wondering on what we were just talking about. Like, how long is it going to take for everybody to wake up, and where in the hell are we really heading? Like,
Good question too. Yeah.
you think, or you would have thought it was heading in one direction. And I always thought, Danielle had sent out that video yesterday, which was an awesome video to watch. But like me and Bob have been talking for a while. We've always said, that we thought that Donald Trump was a red herring. That eventually it'll end up being that everyone thinks he's the savior, and really he's not, and that's when the real show would start. So I'm just wondering when it's all really going to begin.
Right.
You think it's going to happen before the election?
I'm ready for a change of scenery. Like I know we're not going to win like we think politically with Trump or whatever, but I'm just ready for a change of scenery.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's get to the next scene.
Yeah, right.
Turn the page.
I think something's going to happen before the election because enough people saw the corruption of the 2020 election, not least of which that movie 2000 Mules. So I mean, I think that woke enough people up to that so many more people are on high alert leading up to the election. I think something's going to happen.
Well, and there's more coming. I don't know if you're in that loop, but there's more coming. There's major exposure coming with election fraud, major stuff.
Well, that's what I mean, because I mean that's
big stuff.
That's what I mean, Bob, because a lot of people still are under the belief that their vote counts, and I think that movie 2000 Mules and just all the other evidence that people woke up to and after the election of 2020. I mean, say what you will about the whole election process is a fraud, but so many people still believe that their vote mattered. So I think coming into, you know, November, we're going to see, and that kind of ties in with obviously with the Roe v. Wade, the new gun laws, the monkeypox, obviously introducing the monkeypox, and then the Alex Jones and the Trump raid and the IRS. I mean, and I say like they kind of throw these events at us in bundles, you know, with the three bundles with tied in with the Trump, Alex Jones, and the IRS, and then with the monkeypox and Roe v. Wade and the gun laws. I mean, they throw them in bundles, but we're going to see more of these bundles hitting us in quick succession here. Hey guys, I realize that we are less than a minute here. I saw the time, but then for a moment there I lost track of the time. But so just so long as none of us get cut off mid-sentence, I think this would be a great place to wrap it up and say until next time.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good day.
All right.
Yep, sounds good. Good conversation, guys. I enjoyed it.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
See you all. Bye-bye.
See you guys.